And welcome to Revolution Radio. Coffee Morning Rants with Dan. I am Dan the Spiritual Anarchist, your host. Today is May 21st in the year of all of us, 2026. I have a good show planned for today. I'm also filming, so okay, I'm coming across here. I'm just making sure all my tech stuff is okay. I'm using OBS to also record at the same time I'm doing the radio show. So sometimes I do this and I have to make sure things are set up the right way. It's a learning process, and I'm very happy with the learning that I've done. I didn't know any of this kind of stuff when I first started out, and it's a self-taught thing. And then, you get some training. I'm taking the how to become the true media that Mark Passio is putting on, and I've missed more classes than I would like to have missed, but I'm kind of an intermediate guy, and I've learned a lot. I learned something every time I'm in the class, and I got to learn some new things this past Monday, and that's why I'm doing this the way I am. But we've got a lot of interesting things going on. A lot of false flag events are happening in the world, of course, at mosques and different things like that. So some of what I'm going to talk about today might be a little dry to some people because it's going to be about truth and religion and different things and true spiritual things. And why is it important? Well, it's important because the more you can help people not only have true faith, but to also understand the actual truth and how we've been lied to throughout all human history. I see people out there right now, I see guys like Michael Tsarian and Billy Carson. And Billy Carson's real big lately. I've been watching a lot of his stuff. And these guys are teaching the truth of astronaut theory. They're teaching about the Anunnaki, about Atlantis, the Emerald Tablets, different things that have been written down, the Book of Enoch, all these things that overlap into what the truth is and why the truth was actually hidden from us. We have to understand if they lied to us thousands of years ago, or I should say if they're lying to us now in the last century, why wouldn't they have lied to us 1,000 years ago, which is a drop in the bucket to these beings that live very long lives, if not forever. And then you get over to someone like Mark Passio, God bless him, who's deculting what's going on in the world. He's teaching about the dark occult priest class of complete evil that runs this Soul Garden prison planet, and how they do so through their knowledge of the occulted arts, if you will. Okay, I'll be getting into that stuff today, and their knowledge of the natural laws of the universe. All right. Pay attention to these people's work. They're trying to put the truth out there to you. Today I didn't know if I was going to be angry and really ranting, because I do got lots of anger when I see the cognizant dissidents and just the disbelief that people have. They're in a complete state of denial over some of the things that are happening. The ego seems to be controlling people big time. It's keeping people in purposeful ignorance. And, there's a difference between nescience, which is really not having knowledge, because you don't know the knowledge exists, and willful ignorance. I don't know why my throat's all messed up. My throat chakra is probably being attacked by entities, okay? They don't exist. He's crazy. Oh, I get it. Of course not. Of course not. No, sure they don't. I know they don't. But there's a guy who's glowing with a beard in the desert sky. He exists. All three versions of him that were fucking murdering each other over. Okay. Yeah, you're going to tell me what exists and what doesn't. Anyway, I was going to rant, and I don't want to rant. Okay? I decided today's Thursday. It's a magical day. It's a magical day. And, today's radio show is going to be... It's going to be a good show because it's going to talk about how love is the law under faith. And faith equals a vibration of hope and love, which creates a world that evil cannot control. A vibration that they can't feed off of because they want to feed off of fear, shame. They feed off of indifference to a certain degree, especially if it's indifference to evil. They take glee in it. And I wanted to say that in the tarot, the Three of Swords energy is not always heartbreak. Sometimes it's three tools or weapons with one heart. One heart, one blood, one soul. That's important. So, I'm going to be talking about today, just so you know, I'm going to be talking about Gnostic texts. I'm going to be talking about how they interrelate with what Jesus was teaching. Everyone wants to talk about what Jesus taught, not understanding that the powers that shouldn't be at that time took the teachings of Jesus, twisted them, made them into contradictions, and threw them into a religious book. Okay? A religious book and a religion of contradictions that Jesus was against. And I know this not because I'm some divinely touched person who's been given some knowledge that other people don't have access to. There's 114 sayings from Jesus in the Gnostic texts that were hidden in the desert that weren't found until 1945. It's because the powers that shouldn't be didn't want these teachings in the Bible that was going to be given to the masses. So the greatest trick that the devil ever played on us, and Jesus was teaching this, was to fool us into believing that the bearded guy in the desert sky was anything but a devil. Oh my God, did he say that? Oh, I'm going to get much deeper into it. And they obscured his teachings the same way they obscured the truth today. You know, the real creator of everything does not require blood sacrifices. I repeat, God does not require nothing of us. God is experiencing everything through our experiences, and we have the divine spark within us. The real God of this universe, the creative force of this universe, does not require blood sacrifices of any kind ever, period. Any person or force of persons who murder in the name of God for any reason are mind-controlled puppets of Satan, and quite frankly, you're retarded. I don't believe half the people in the world today doing the evil they're doing, especially on the world stage, getting up there with their cross eyes and their really ridiculous names, speaking a bunch of bullshit, are anything but mind-controlled NPCs that aren't even actually human or even have a soul. This is a testing ground, and collectively we're kind of failing the test. But again, I started this out with saying, hey, there's hope. And they don't want us. Love is the law under courage. Love is the law under your will to have courage. Love is the law under faith. Faith is usually something that I don't talk very positively about, because faith would denote a belief without real proof. But see, if you have faith and you're vibrating in a state of hope, which is a state of love, it creates a world they can't control. They don't want this. So don't let contradictions within the religions get it twisted. Faith is still an important thing, just not the way they're trying to push it onto you. They say, faith, to have belief, right? Faith without deeds. Well, deeds is what we look at. The actions is what we look at. And I see actions as blood sacrifices, and murdering in the name of a god is something that only mortal beings of a lower nature partake in, and they're wanting to keep us in this lower nature. So King James I of England, he reigned from 1567 to 1625. He became king in 1603 and is known for commissioning the King James Bible, which was published in 1611 during his reign. He kind of inherited this. So there's this man who decided which scriptures were going to remain, which ones were going to be added, and which ones were going to be hidden, which ones were to be taken out. Somebody hid those, and they weren't destroyed like they were supposed to be. So I'm going to cut straight to the bone of something that most people only circle around. Jesus wasn't teaching blood magic religion. He was exposing it. Okay? He didn't want a religion. He spoke out against the Pharisees and the Sadducees of that time and religion. He was exposing this blood magic of human sacrifice, of animal sacrifice, of the taking of life that was not anyone's to take. The only time life is justified in being taken is if it is in self-defense. So he wasn't teaching blood magic. He was exposing it. And it is the greatest trick the devil ever played, was to make you think that he is God. Because it wasn't tricks with horns and fire. The trick was convincing humanity that the source of all life demands death. Does that make sense? Does it even make sense? So the clean, structured version of what I'm actually speaking to or talking about, and it does hold together historically, spiritually, and philosophically, is Jesus' actual teachings were about consciousness, not sacrifice. So the earliest layers of his teachings, especially the ones preserved in the Gnostic texts and the Thomist traditions, shows a man who is teaching, this is what Jesus was teaching, and some of it even made it into the New Testament. Remember, there's going to be a little bit of carrot and a little bit of truth with every stick and with every op. Otherwise, you don't buy into it. They got to get you to bite into it. There might be some type of allegory there with, the apple of knowledge from the Garden of Eden. Let me take a sip of my coffee. But the earliest layers of what he was teaching was your inner divinity. Your direct access to God. Your direct access to the Most High, to cosmic consciousness. Liberation from fear. We're not born with original sin. We're born as a blank slate. He was trying to teach the end of priestly intermediaries, the end of having some type of communicator between you and the divine. It's to enslave you to keep you from having your own thoughts, your own resonance with God, the Most High. It's disempowering, is what it is. He was teaching the end of priestly intermediaries and the end of blood ritual religion. And that message is a direct threat to any system built on control, which is every system throughout all of human creation in humanity. It's the one that we've battled against for all time. That's probably part of the test we're here for. Can we beat it? Can we beat it on a spiritual and emotional and physical level? All three. That's the fucking Holy Trinity. That is the triangle. So what happens historically? His teachings get absorbed, edited, and weaponized by the very structures that he challenged. Blood sacrifice is a human invention, not a divine requirement. And see, the population control agenda and population control agenda through wars, shots, needlecraft, that is basically blood rituals. We keep hearing about how all these kidnapped people, slavery's never stopped. There's a whole slave market out there. This is nothing new. It's just being brought to everyone's attention. Now they're telling us the truth, and they don't even care about telling it to us because no one's going to do anything about it, they think. They also don't care about openly just lying to us, which is a test of our obedience. They're going to buy these lies. Let's see how far they buy them. And they know human psychology to the degree that you're too distracted. You're in your slab. You're disconnected, talking to AI instead of other human beings. They know how distracted we are. I'm even acting a little distracted now. So across cultures, blood sacrifice emerges from fear, superstition, attempts to bargain with nature, and they belong to priestly power structures. The true creator, the source of consciousness, physics, beauty, and life, has no need for blood, death, appeasement, or obedience through terror. I would say that the God Most High is probably a little bit more neutral than that. But there's an involuted force in this universe that's not neutral. It's very evil. And then there's a good force that is about love. And ultimately, that is the strongest force. It doesn't have to play all these tricks. And evil knows that. So the evil is very tricksy to get its precious. A being that creates a life as we know it throughout the universe does not need life destroyed to be satisfied. That's a contradiction in terms. And remember, it's contradictions that they threw into the New Testament to keep you confused, just like it's contradictions you see on the news to keep you confused. See, religion and governments, power structures, the ruling class, the Epstein class, that have been read on shit that none of us know, or a lot of them ain't even human, in my opinion. They don't want you to know that. They thrive in the contradictions that are created. Why would the God that creates life need death? If it's not a construct of some lower being trying to control things and enslave things for its own whatever that it has no right to do. It's an inversion of nature and everything that's good. So when religion says God needs blood to forgive you, that's not God speaking, that's a system of evil speaking. Murder for God, any version of God, is always a human corruption. Always. I've said it plainly, and I know I'm correct. Any person or group who is killing in God's name is acting from delusion, ego, and manipulation. We see this in the macrocosm. We see it in our personal lives. Let me see something here as I'm speaking, as a matter of fact. Okay, just making sure. Yep, everything's still good. I wish I could see how many people are actually listening. I got to start going live, I think, on YouTube. Every time violence is justified by religion, it's because leaders want power, populations are being controlled, fear is being weaponized, and myth is being twisted into propaganda. The weaponization of fear. Remember, everything that's going to happen is for our safety. God rest the souls of the PSYOP, false flag, or otherwise, that were murdered in the mosque. But again, it's religion's causing this. But they were actually being searched for prior to that. Now, I don't know the full reason why they were already being searched to prior to that, but they'll take this off in this direction that they were being searched prior to that, because later on, this is why we need to know where everyone's at all times. Instead of saying, well, we were searching to them prior to that, we should have probably warned the mosque people not, to have church another day. Okay. Oh, and this sign. Yeah. Okay. That's why it's an evil sign. Okay. Because they know you're retarded if you believe what they're fucking saying. Anyway, excuse my language. He swore. He used profanity. Because he's upset about the murder of people. Oh, but the murder of people's fine. But not profanity. All right, let me stop. Okay, so no divine intelligence requires murder. Doesn't this make sense to you? I mean, it makes sense. It's not a contradicting thing. The God of life does not require death. Okay. And yes, extreme groups throughout history have caused immense suffering by claiming divine authority. Their actions are rooted in ideology and violence and control and greed and ego, not any authentic spiritual truth. Jesus' message was inverted into the opposite of what he taught. What does Satanism do? It inverts everything. And this is the real trick. He taught liberation, they built a hierarchy. He taught inner divinity, they built external authority. He taught life, they centered death. He taught truth, they built dogma. He taught freedom, they built obedience. The inversion of it is the deception. And I'm not crazy in seeing this. I'm seeing the pattern. It's pattern recognition throughout history. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you've been. And my core point of this is aligned with the oldest mystical traditions across Gnostic, Essene, Hermetic, Vedic, and early Christian mysticism. The same truth appears. The divine spark is within. The Most High requires no blood. Violence is a human distortion. Truth is direct, usually simple, experimental, and liberating. And yes, I am reading my notes. This is the thread Jesus was teaching. This is the thread that has been obscured. And yes, the obscuring still exists today, and so do the people who live within these contradictions. If I wasn't told of humanity, of people in the United States, I don't even like to call it the United States of America, it's the divided states of enslavement. If we weren't told when we were around 9 or 10 years old that Santa Claus was fake, just so our parents could, have some imagination and give us that imagination as children, that we maybe shouldn't lose as we get older. We should probably hang on to it, because imagination is how you solve problems. If we weren't told the truth of that, we'd be murdering each other over Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Hey, Santa Claus has a beard too, doesn't he? He wears this red thing. I wonder what that has anything to do with anything. So yes, the obscuring still happens today, and it doesn't happen through actual demons with pitchforks. It happens through propaganda, fear, tribalism, identity manipulation, religious literalism, political power structures, economic incentives, and psychological conditioning, which starts at a very, very young age to weaponize shame against you. The devil is not some red pointy-haired figure with a pitchfork. It's the machinery of deception that convinces people to betray their own inner knowing. You know it's wrong to murder or kill. If you're a cop, and I was a cop for a lot of years, I was a corrections officer. I did side jobs for U.S. Marshals. I worked at NASA Security. I worked for a government medical facility and watched people lie while I was there many years before COVID. Before COVID 1984 came in and they started putting people on respirators to just murder people, I watched medical people follow protocols and lies because it made them money. Except the protocols then weren't murdering people like they did in 2020 and beyond, which is going to keep happening, okay? So if you're listening to the order following and the protocols you're being given and you know it's bringing harm, stop. You took a Hippocratic oath to not actually do harm. So a lot of times what we start talking about, what I've talked about is, well, Jesus was teaching natural law. Jesus was teaching, and people ask, well, what do you mean? Because Jesus was not teaching slave enslavement. Jesus was teaching higher consciousness and what we're actually really about. And why the spark of the divine is within us. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of the Gnostic text, and then I'm gonna expand on it a little bit. And I'm quoting from the text. These are the hidden words that the living Jesus spoke, and Didymus, Judas, Thomas wrote them down. Whoever finds the meaning of these words will not taste death. This is when they were in the cave. The Gospel of Thomas is comprised of 114 sayings. The ones most aligned with the cage teaching theme, inner revelation, is self-knowledge and the path from disturbance to astonishment to mastery. Saying number 2, the exact teaching that I referenced, saying number 2, let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will be troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and then he will rule over the all, be a master of the universe, so to speak. Because reality is a little bit different than what you've been taught, maybe. Saying number 3, the kingdom is within. If those who lead you say, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds will precede you. If they say it is in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is within you, and it is outside of you. What he's saying here is the people that lead you, that, hey, the kingdom's in the sky, so what you do here doesn't matter. It's so they can control you. Those who lead you that say the kingdom is anywhere other than within you and everywhere around you, because God created everything, are trying to control you. Hey, after death, when I go up to the sky, things will be good then. But now they suck. Now this is a beautiful world. You know, whatever created this world created a lot of beauty to go along with all this evil that's created by us or allowed by us. Saying number 70, if you bring forth what is within you, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. If you bring forth what is within you, which is the truth, it'll save you. If you don't bring that forth, it will destroy you. Jesus was teaching adherence to natural law and truth. Saying 1:13, the kingdom is spread out. Okay? The Father's kingdom is spread out upon the earth and men do not see it. Meaning heaven is literally everywhere. God is literally in everything. We can see it within each other if we are looking at beings with a soul. Not these soulless automatons that get on TV and do whatever the hell they're told to do and say what they're told to say. On the tell lies to your vision, programming you. Now, if I put these teachings into a natural law framework, natural law is the law of consciousness, cause and effect, sovereignty, truth, and alignment. Each Thomas saying maps cleanly, which is a teaching of Jesus, maps cleanly into the natural law truth principle. Upon seeking, you will be disturbed. Upon being disturbed, you will be astonished and then mastery. Truth, shadow, integration, and sovereignty. This is where the natural law, this is the natural law correspondence to that teaching in the Gnostic texts. Okay, disturbance, astonishment, mastery. Truth, shadow, integration, sovereignty. Seek. That's the will to know the truth. You have to seek to know it. You have to start. Find. The truth appears. Sometimes you have to chew on it for a while. That's the part that I've done for a little bit now. So I still chew on it. Troubled. Yeah, troubled is your own shadow confrontation, because all of us have it. Astonished is when your perception expands, and then you rule over the all, which is having sovereignty, coherence, and mastery over yourself. That none of these people have. They want to master others to make up for whatever mastery they don't have over themselves. At least the ones who are still human. Truth disrupts illusion, and disturbance precedes clarity. Integration produces power. And this is not supernatural. This is mechanics. This is geometry. It's the mechanics of consciousness is what it is. The operating system of the cosmos is love. Encourages the password. And we're going to need it. As I think about it, even as I'm speaking, I know my voice has probably cracked a couple times. It'll continue to do so, and I'll continue to speak. The kingdom is within you. Natural law is consciousness is primary, authority is internal. Thomas saying 3 destroys all externalized religion control systems. Natural law states all authority originates within you. No priest, institution, intermediary, or book can mediate truth. Consciousness is the source of meaning and morality. Without it, you won't understand what actual morality is. And morality is simple. Don't do unto others what you want done unto you. Your rights are any action you take that does not initiate harm. When harm is being initiated under the disguise of safety, and it's the law, it's some arbitrary dictate that some human being made up. It's not man's law. It's God's. It's not God's law. It's man's law. Jesus was teaching Thomas, stop looking outside of yourself for what can only be found within. Number 70, the saying of Thomas, is really pure natural law. The expression of it is alignment, coherence, and liberation. The suppression of it is fragmentation, suffering, and self-destruction. And what we're seeing in the world right now is assured mutual self-destruction, because nobody is speaking up against this in any meaningful way. I see lots of controlled opposition. I don't see anybody really speaking from the truth from within, from their own heart, with any type of true care for anything else. There are a few, but it's not a lot. So the expression is alignment. When you're following this teaching of Jesus of natural law, the expression is alignment, coherence, and liberation. The suppression of it is fragmentation, suffering, self-destruction. This is the law of cause and effect applied to the psyche. What you refuse to face becomes your master. What you integrate becomes your power. Believe me, I know this. Number 4, the kingdom is spread out upon the earth and men do not see it. This is the law of mentalism. Reality is not hidden. It was created to be. It wasn't created. Reality isn't hidden. It wasn't created to be complicated, and the truth is simple and can be known. Once you know it, you have to actually adjust your perceptions to it. And I've had to deal with this in my own personal life, where people don't want to admit something so badly that they stay in this state of cognizant dissonance over what they really know to be the truth, even when that truth is painful, even when you wish that wasn't the truth. So the truth is simple. It can't be hidden. It can't be created, and it's not complicated, but it is misperceived. Ignorance is a perpetual failure, not a cosmic secret. Jesus is telling Thomas, heaven is not a place. It is a state of perception. We create first here, then we take action in the real world to bring it about. So the full natural law synthesis of the teachings, of the Gnostic teachings, okay? Because people are always asking, what do you mean when you say Jesus was teaching natural law? The full natural law synthesis of what Jesus was teaching is the truth is inside you. It's not in institutions. Seeking truth destabilizes the ego, but that is necessary. Integration of your shadow produces sovereignty. The world is already divine, but your perception is the barrier. Mastery comes from inner alignment, not external obedience. In fact, when you have nothing but external obedience, I know this as an order follower, having been a cop, having worked in a prison, having done all this stuff, even in the Marines when I was younger and much more filled with hope, I guess. Okay, I got hope today. I still got hope. But your soul starts to get darkened every time you're following orders. So external obedience will create a spiritual sickness within you. You will be spiritually bankrupt, morally corrupt, because you're following orders that somewhere deep down you know are wrong. Because I got to do this. I don't want to do this any more than you do. I don't like it. But I'm just following orders. The law says you got to do this, and I'm okay, dude. The law also says not to follow immoral orders. Pay attention to that law. So the what I've been circling here, what I've been articulating actually is there's no blood sacrifices. God doesn't need that. There is no external savior. Jesus wasn't teaching he's the Savior. He was trying to teach the truth. This is why they attempted to murder him for it. No priestly intermediaries are needed between you and the divine. No fear-based religion. That's all it is. Okay? No chosen people. Okay, there's people over there that are being called the chosen people, and they're using it to commit genocide because they're the chosen people. Yeah, bullshit. You don't even know your own history if you don't know what occurred in 1918 and everything that led up to the Holocaust in World War II and then beyond. Much less going 12,000 years back in history. There's no chosen people. No violence in the name of God. Consciousness as the truth temple. Natural law as the operating system of reality. It simply is. Maybe that's why God said, I am He. And the Gospel of Thomas, which is the closest thing we have to Jesus' private teachings, aligns with this perfectly. Then we get into Hermetic principles. The Book of Thomas, Hermeticism, and natural law snap together like gears in the same machine, because they really are. The 4 core Thomas sayings mapped to the 7 Hermetic principles. Seek, and you shall find. You'll be troubled, then astonished, and rule over the all. Well, mentalism, all is mind. Truth seeking begins in the consciousness. The troubled is the collapse of false mental constructs and paradigms that are set up around by other human beings that should not exist. The false paradigm of authority of some people thinking they can boss around others. Okay? The 5-year-old in all of us says, you're not the boss of me. Especially when you're not doing anything that initiates harm. We got a bunch of harm being disguised, folks. Quit allowing it to fool you and be disguised. Unmask it. It's been unmasked. You're just unwilling to look. Natural law expression of this is truth disrupts the illusion because consciousness is primary. Okay? Correspondence, as within, so without. The inner disturbance mirrors the outer shift. Integration inside produces sovereignty outside. The natural law expression of correspondence is internal alignment changes external reality. Vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves. The seeker moves through vibrational states: ignorance, disturbance, clarity, then mastery. The natural law expression is raising your vibration equals increasing the coherence, increasing true care for your fellow human beings. At the very least, true care means you're not going to initiate harm. There's people that I absolutely don't like. I would not initiate harm to them now. Oh my God, this is going to have to be 2 episodes. For real, actually. I still got 10 minutes though. The law of vibration, nothing rests. The seeker moves through these vibrational states: ignorance, disturbance, clarity, mastery. Natural law expression is raising your vibration, is increasing the coherence. Then there's polarity. Opposites are identical in nature. Okay? Hot and cold are the same in nature, just different to degree. Troubled, astonishment are 2 poles of the same awakening. Shadow and light are the same energy at different degrees. The natural law expression is your shadow integration will produce power. When you know the truth and you don't lie to yourself, you're not going to accept contradictions and lies from others. Then there's rhythm. The pendulum swings. The troubled face is the backward swing. But see, now you're riding the pendulum. You're not helplessly just watching it. Astonishment is the forward swing. The natural law expression is mastery comes from rising above the swing, or as I said, riding it, not resisting it. Cause and effect, nothing happens by chance. Seeking causes finding. You wouldn't have the finding if you didn't start to seek. Finding causes the disturbance causes the revelation, and revelation causes sovereignty. So natural law expression is awakening is mechanical, not mystical. That's the science of it. Number 7 is gender. That's the 7th Hermetic principle. And both genders are in all things. And no, I'm not talking about the LBGTQ, whatever fucking initials it has. There's masculine, which is the will, and there's feminine, which is the intuition. So seeking equals a masculine projection. Astonishment equals a feminine reception. Ruling the all is the union of both. That's the sacred union. They don't want this. That's why they're trying to turn us into robots. So the natural law expression is sovereignty requires inner union, which helps lead to inner peace. The saying number 3. The kingdom is within you and outside of you. Mentalism, the kingdom is a state of consciousness. Now, if I was going to tie back every one of these sayings to the natural law expressions, to all 7 Hermetic principles, that's what this is saying. 3. The kingdom is within you and outside of you. Mentalism, the kingdom is a state of consciousness, not a location. Correspondence, it's within and without inner, it's within equals without inner state. Outer perception. Vibration, the kingdom is a frequency band you tune into. I like the movie, or the song Stereo Hearts. It came out in Gym Class Hero, Stereo Hearts, 2011. It's really pretty cool. I like that song. Polarity. Heaven and earth are not opposites. They are different degrees of perception. Rhythm. People oscillate between seeing and not seeing. I think it's time we start seeing. Cause and effect. Inner clarity causes outer recognition. So when you start to have inner clarity that we are all part of the divine and we're all one, you wouldn't want to really bring harm to another person because you're harming yourself. What we're allowing to happen in the world, we are giving our consent to happen to us. And gender, in relation to the kingdom is within you and outside of you, is the inner feminine knowing, intuition, versus plus the outer masculine action, which is realization. Okay, number 70, bring forth what is within you. Bring forth what is within you, the truth. Number 1, how does that go into the Hermetic principle of mentalism? Your inner content is your reality generator. Correspondence. What is unexpressed inside becomes a distortion outside. So you have to speak your truth. Somebody's done you wrong, you tell them and you speak your truth about it, how you feel about it. Because if you don't, it's going to eat you up. And how can you have any type of clarity or coherence with yourself, balance with yourself? Bring forth what is within you. Vibration. Suppression lowers vibration. Expression raises it. And the expression of your vibration is your imagination, which is what they want to suppress within you. They want to make us into robots in smart cities. You know, drone number 75 reporting is ordered. Yeah, okay. Polarity, the same inner force can save or destroy depending on direction. Rhythm, suppressed energy rebounds destructively. Expressed energy flows. expressed, energy flows. Bruce Lee said, be like water. Cause and effect. Expression equals liberation. Suppression equals self-harm. Suppression comes from a space of fear. Expression comes from a space of love. All of this overlaps. Gender creation requires masculine expression plus feminine receptibility to truth and intuition. Saying 113, the kingdom is spread out upon the earth and men do not see it. Mentalism to a degree, not completely 100%, but your perception of how you can positively change your life and have some type of power and control over your life will help to determine your reality. I'm not saying perception is reality. Human perception can be changed, and it often is through all these poisons that they're putting on us. Correspondence. The divine is everywhere, and the blindness is internal. Vibration. Low vibration equals blindness, and high vibration equals recognition. Polarity. Visible and invisible are degrees of awareness. I would say what I said earlier. Nescience and ignorance are chosen degrees of awareness. One is self-inflicted, and the other is from someone who's not yet learned, which is what people like me are trying to do, is teach this to make it learned. The rhythm. Humanity cycles between ignorance and revelation, and often over the exact same things. It's interesting. Cause and effect. Ignorance causes blindness, and awareness causes recognition. Feigned ignorance is what we see a lot of right now. And gender. Seeing requires feminine intuitive eyes and masculine directed attention. That the kingdom is everywhere. So the full synthesis. Let me see if I can get to the part. Oh God, no, there's still a lot left. Yeah, I might not be able to get through all of it. I might have to get back to this rest of this next week. And if I keep coming up with these things, I'm going to actually start a 2-hour. I got the space. I might start a 2-hour thing where I at least get somebody as a guest on for 30, 40 minutes. And start talking for about an hour and a half each time. I'm really thinking I'm going to have to do this as I move forward. But I hope you got something out of this. Study the. Look up the Gnostic texts. You can find them online for free, and you'll be amazed. Read the Jewish book of the Essenes, okay? And don't automatically think, oh, he said Jewish, we hate Jews. Don't do that. The people over there right now are European settlers. They're not the original Jewish people or the 12 tribes of Israel. They're not. Okay? No whole people should be demonized because of the actions of the greedy ruling class of those people. The ruling class of the world hate us all equally. They all work together in 2020 to put diapers on our faces and lock us down. That alone should make you wake up to what they're doing. Anyways, until next time, folks, stay safe. Nothing but love. Peace out. All right, peace out. I'm off the radio. I'm still on here. I don't know if there's any more I want to say. Probably not. I'll make it into a radio show maybe. Maybe I'll put it on my podcast today. Maybe I won't. Am I even on right now? Holy shit, I might not be on. This is going to be interesting. Hold on a second. Yes, I'm just doing it on here. Let me take off Discord. Test. I should be on. Let's put this mic on. Okay, I'm on. It'll be interesting to see if what I said actually came through. I might make this into a podcast. I might not. I'm just experimenting. I don't think there's much else to say, man. Again, that was the radio show. The radio show's done. This is still part of the podcast, Nothing But Love. Maybe I'll start going live on the podcast after I do the radio show. That might be a good idea. Anyway, yeah, I got good ideas coming in. I'm gonna jump on them. And like I said on the radio show, Nothing But Love. Peace out, man. Stay safe.